Born in the heart of Wisconsin, where tradition runs deep and good stories start around a tailgate. Join your host, Eric Tasker, and former Major League pitcher Paul Wagner as they dive into hunting, fishing, conservation, and the great outdoors, and share the stories that come with it. Because out here, it's more than a pastime, it's a way of life. Everything outdoors, and the stories that make good memories. This is Tailgate Talk.
Okay, so the new era of Tailgate Talk has begun. And I'm looking at Paul Wagner because he did not know that that was going to be the intro that we had. And I wanted to just make sure that we did something different in this new rendition of Tailgate Talk, because we got to do something. It's the next era.
It sounded awesome.
It was great,
it
right?
Really was.
So when I said I need you to wear headphones for like the first minute, that was the only reason that I needed you to wear headphones for the first minute, was because I wanted you to be able to hear that. So I've been in the background. We've taken a couple weeks off, so we can actually pop our headphones off now. And we've had a couple weeks off, and we've been kind of brewing about this and how are we going to make this work and what are we going to do in the future and how are we going to kind of have this show continue. And I've just been thinking, all of these other major podcasts, they all have some sort of intro, they all have some sort of kickstart to their show.
Right.
I figured we needed our own.
Right.
So you like it?
I do.
Good.
I'm
okay.
pleasantly surprised. It was awesome.
So how about that? So we've got our own intro music now. Our buddy Gregory John from one of our radio stations in Milwaukee helped us out. I kind of pulled something together and thought, what is Tailgate Talk about? And it's just really a couple of guys shooting the breeze, talking about anything and everything in the outdoors. And it really is a way of life for us, because we've lived our entire year up to this point for really kind of this past 2 weeks. And we center so many things around it. I mean, just think back to when the baseball season was ending for you. You're like, man, I just have so much I need to get done, and I just haven't had time. And it's a way of life, man. So here we go. Episode 201, the new era of Tailgate Talk.
Yes.
And it's been a while, so I'm sure we have a lot that we can catch up on. And I just wanted to at least start off the show with that, because I knew that we needed something, and I wanted to. I've had this for probably 2 or 3 days now. I'm like, I should send it to him, and I'm like, I'm going to just play it. I'm going to just have him listen to it for the first time and get a real reaction. So here we go.
Yeah.
What's been going on, man?
It is crazy, because there's a lot of changes for us now. I mean, it's a situation that we've been very, very accustomed to, me coming in, calling on the road, doing things. And now it's almost like Mama Doe just kicked her 2 fawns out and said, okay, Paul and Eric,
here we go.
Go figure it out. And you know what? I'm excited for it. And I hope it turns out well. Everything has been going well. Everything has been going good. The seasons have gone. We've had good weather.
Right.
We've had a little bit of cold snaps. We've had some rain. We've had all different factors that are involved in deer hunting. I'm seeing a lot now, seeing a lot more turkeys. We're seeing things. So again, it is the time. It is the fever. I have it, and I'm excited.
Yeah. So we've talked a bunch of times. We've texted a bunch of different times. I think it's probably been close to a month now that we have not done a show. And it's funny, as I was kind of working with Hunter at the station and just trying to get some things set up, and he's like, Drew and KB talked about deer season, or all the deer that they saw or something like that, where deer and deer hunting came up. And there were a couple people that actually texted in, and I'm not even joking with you, a couple people texted in and said, is Tailgate Talk going to come back? Are they going to keep doing episodes?
Good.
So we've got at minimum 2 or 3 fans besides our family that are excited that we're going to have a new one. And I did put out that just quick little blurb of just a couple minutes of, hey, we're trying to figure some things out. Then I was gone for a week and a half, and we just didn't have time. We were out there in the Northwoods just trying to get a deer, and we just have not really had time. But we knew that, we've built something with 200 episodes behind us.
Right.
So here we go. We're at the Wagner Ranch, our new podcast studio, in the bar, and we're making it work. We've got our own equipment. We've got everything. So we can actually, the one thing that I will say about this now is that with us not being a radio show anymore, and maybe that will come back in the future, but with us not being a radio show anymore, we won't have any of those like clunky breaks. You know how stressed I was all the time trying to not sound like a total moron going to break.
And coming back.
And how do we start this and whatever. So today was easy because it was a surprise with the intro music. But we don't have to worry about that anymore. We could just have straight through conversation. We're not limited to 42 minutes anymore. So if we talk for an hour or we talk for 30 minutes and we don't have much to chat about, we don't have to feel like we're stressed about getting a full 42-minute radio show in anymore. And then when we have those great conversations like with Chris Ham from HHA or like when we talk to Kaz at Buck Rub, we can run for an hour and a half and we can do whatever we want. We're not limited to those finite constraints of getting commercial breaks in and doing some of those things. So a lot of very exciting things. And I think what is best for us is that, when we have guests on now, we can do this and at whatever time, and it's only 2 schedules to coordinate now, and we're just kind of running with it and trying to make it work, and here we are.
Yeah, I mean, it will be nice. I mean, it's awesome. I love everything that we just talked about or that you just said. It's just kind of a little, what it is. We're running on our own, and we're going to figure this out. And as you were talking about long conversations and interviews with people, we can always have part 1 and part 2. Does somebody really want to listen to a 2-hour podcast? No. But you know what? As cheesy as it is, you can have a part 1. We can break it down, and we can be more. Yeah, I think it's going to be nice because we don't have to do those breakups and constantly watching for time and allocations.
Yeah, which was always just something, I'd run a timer on my phone, and, honestly, I don't even know what time we started, maybe about 6-7 minutes ago, but I don't have to worry about it.
Right.
We just got to record it and make sure that it actually records. So that's the stress now, just making sure. But I see my computer's getting sound, so I think we'll be all right. Yeah. I've done a bunch of different little test runs, and like I said, I've been kind of trying to get things dialed in and figured out so that when we got to today, we weren't going to have to worry about it so much. So, so here we are. It's the rut. We're like really knee deep in the thicket of the season here. You've been out quite a bit. I've had some time out. So why don't we just talk about what's been going on for the last month here or so? And I'm just fully expecting, as I'm sitting in our new podcast studio with the big clear garage doors, that a deer is going to walk by at some point. We used to have turkeys outside the station. Now we're just going to have deer, or maybe a fox, or who knows what's going to walk through.
Exactly.
So,
no, but the one thing that I found out as we're hitting towards the, we're not at, we're probably at peak rut. I mean, these larger bucks are now searching for not their local doe or their first doe.
Right.
I've noticed that my water. So before you got here, I had to make a phone call, did some things. I'm like, I'm just going to get on the Ranger and take out some water. They are crushing the water, and that was always my view or my thought that when the rut is really on or when they're really searching hard, you see the stories or the pictures of the bucks with the tongues hanging out, and they're panting and they're all over the place and they're crushing water. They are crushing. Granted, I didn't put big ones in this year, so I'm going to redo that. I'm probably going to go to either 35 or 60 gallons of water. Right now, I only have 12 gallons of water.
Okay.
But I am filling up the one on the south side on the big plot over there that you sat at and you shot your doe. They are crushing 12 gallons of water almost in less than 48 hours.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Wow.
It is. It's wild. I'm looking at my food plots again just today when I did that. I've got to find a seed. I've got to find something that can withstand the heavy, heavy pressure.
Right.
If you go out there again, you'll see it during gun. The purple turnips are there. Right. The radishes are there. There's some spots. There's a clover spot. But it is crushed.
So let me ask you this. Have you ever thought about not completely restricting, but maybe fencing off like parts of the food plot and just putting up like snow fencing? Or would they just jump over that and get in there anyway?
I think they would, but somebody told me as I was talking about this issue that I have here, because there's so many, they put these put an electrical fence up.
Okay.
And it's solar powered. Put it around, and I've seen it. I just was thinking that it was going to be a cost, something that was going to be, something that I don't know necessarily if I want, because of the fact I hunt, like, it's not like I just I want to open up the gate and now it's gun season.
Right.
I'm not saving it for that. I'm looking for a product that's more durable, that's more rejuvenating, like that, those beans, the forage beans, not a one stem. I'm saying I have beans in there because I don't right now, but I've seen those one stem beans come up once the beans are eaten and the tops are cut off, they're done. I guess I thought somebody had told me that there's like a forage bean. When these beans start to almost produce more rapidly, like clover. When you have clover out there and you cut it at about that 6 inch, I always try to cut it at 5 to 6 inches, and it seems like it just blossoms and just takes off again. So I got to look for something like that, and maybe I just go to greens with all the agriculture around me, with the corn and the beans from the farmers. Maybe I go with something that's just a clover, brassica, rape, a green pasture, basically, that I can just overload in greens and they can keep reproducing and they can just come here and eat.
Yeah, and the reason that I asked that is because, it would be nice if you could have, like, maybe it would be fencing off just, like, if you put just the middle portion fenced off so that they still know they can come in and eat around the edges, but then you open that up and they're like, oh my God, the buffet just got restocked.
Right.
And then they're in close.
Right. So my thought was, if I did that, because someone had mentioned it, I would have to fence the outer part early because I want them close enough for bow season. And then now at this time of year, now that bow season is wrapping up, or, even if I do late season bow, that's fine too. But now they've come in. Now I could pull the fence down and open up the outer rings for gun season.
Yeah.
For gun season.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting. I wonder how that would work, or would that like deter them enough? Or, if you've got 6 foot snow fence, I mean, if they're hungry, they'll probably just jump over it.
Right.
They'll be like your actual Wagner Ranch pets.
Penned in. I tried even protecting some of the apple trees. I tried protecting some of the apple trees with this, I don't know, that wrap around. And, and they figure it out.
They figured it out.
Yeah. They figured it out. But yeah.
Okay, so your season so far, so you've had some luck. You've seen a lot of deer. And where are you at this point?
So we've seen a lot of deer, a lot of like this. My area, and I don't know if we've ever talked about this necessarily, is more of the. And I'm not saying a 130-inch deer, a 125, a 130-inch deer isn't bad. It's a great deer.
Yeah.
But it's the land of the 125s, the 130s, the 8-pointers.
Sure.
But the big boys are here. And what we've also come to the conclusion of our great minds is that I have obviously doe and fawn bedding.
Okay.
And I was talking to some guys that, run some major TV shows that played baseball and stuff like that. And he basically asked me, what do you have? Do you have buck bedding or do you have doe bedding?
Okay.
I have doe bedding. He goes, so when the rut hits, when this time of year comes, and that first week in November and in Halloween, he goes, those bucks will not go far from their bedding area. So they will find, if you can label this as the local doe.
Sure.
His bedding area and the buck bedding area for me is probably a good, not a quarter mile, because I'm not sure, but a ways to the east, right?
Yeah.
And it's all over. But when those does start becoming receptive and going to estrus, those bucks don't have to go very far.
Sure.
So that first rut time, that 1st of November, I am seeing right now, we're recording this on November 14th, Friday. Yeah. I am seeing a lot bigger deer now. And I'm not saying 180s and 200s, but now I'm seeing the 150s. At night, wrong time, they're roaming, but they've left.
Or maybe it's shooting hours are 5:12 and you're getting them at 5:25.
I'm staying out there as long as I can until I can't see with squinty eyes. But no, now the bigger deer are coming in. Again, like I said, they're not 200 inches yet. We just took one to the northeast of me. I have a picture of him. He took one. It just scored 179. I had him on camera. I did not.
That's a really,
and I
really
didn't,
good.
Yes, and I didn't think he was that big, but I'm not very good at, calibrating that or figuring that stuff out.
Yeah.
But I came in at like 178 and 3 whatever, and I'm like, wow. So, but that's what I've kind of come to understand here. There's deer.
Right.
We know that in the 20 years I've been here, I can honestly tell you and I'm very, very fortunate with that, you don't go very many days without seeing deer.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll see deer.
Right.
Can you shoot them? No. Will you shoot them? Maybe not.
Right.
But you will see. Very rarely will you sit in the redneck and not see anything. And I think maybe you might even had one of those days.
Yeah.
But then again, when there's combining going on, but if it's just a regular day and the farmers aren't boogering stuff up,
right,
you will see deer all the time. But that's what I have. I think I have the doe fawn bedding area.
Sure.
So right now, this mid-November, right before gun season, is when my area picks up because those local bucks or those bigger bucks are leaving their area. Now they're searching.
So I'm going to ask you something just to tee up my conversation about my time away. So how do you have an actual process? Now, for you, it's a little bit different because your rednecks are set up, your stands are all hung, you can kind of do whatever, and you can move in between them all. Do you rely heavily on what you're seeing on trail cameras, or is it an instinct or a gut feeling of, hey, I'm going to sit in the south redneck today, or hey, I'm going to go sit in the stand, right off the trail here, or I'm going to sit in the north redneck? Do you have any process of thinking through how you're going to sit in what spot?
None.
Okay.
None. I will look at wind, and you are right, 100%, my gut. I'll walk outside, so in the area that we're at is obviously the warmer bar side. On the colder side, you walk into the garage, and my hunting stuff is there. I probably, as I'm getting dressed, I have a map. We have a map down there. And I will just randomly, not even thinking about it, I'll look at the map and I just go with what my thought process is.
Sure.
Even with the wind, I will try to just go normal. Wind being the biggest factor for me. I'll try to just go with my gut unless it's very, very drastic. Like I'm not going to sit somewhere that's going to blow right on them. But if it is a 5 to 10 or a 5 mile an hour wind with gusts up to 10 miles an hour, as I get up a little bit higher, I'll take my chances with that because I can hunt. I'm not saying 300 and 360 degrees, but you know what? They can come from different areas.
Right.
If I eliminate that downwind side, I eliminate that downwind side.
Right. Yeah.
But now with you, when you guys go up north, you had told me once before that because it was public land, you always, for some odd reason, I think this is what you told me, you hunted for many years out of the same exact tree.
Yes. Yeah, so I have a tree that I really like up there.
So it doesn't matter. Your gut.
So I'll just kind of get into it a little bit. So we did spend it was a Wednesday. We went up on a Wednesday and we came back the following Friday. So like the dates and everything were a little wonky this year, just in the sense that, we're usually up there a couple days in advance of Halloween. The 29th was the day that I killed my big buck, and I've always seen deer that day. So that seems to, for whatever reason, be the day that I like to shoot deer. So I was feeling a little frustrated last year. I know I've said this before. It's hard for me to just take a whole week off and get away.
Right.
With work, with whatever, it takes a little bit of planning. So I need to be able to prep in advance of getting away, just as anybody with a job would have to do. Just some of those things when you're leaving for that extended period of time, there's factors involved. So I had been sending you probably early to middle October this deer that we can't even believe is up there. I mean, it's a very, very quality deer. And we were getting him patterned from one camera following exactly through to hit all three of our cameras. And we were getting them that way for like 8 days in a row. And it was always at nighttime, but we're like, okay, he's close by. He's bedding right there. I mean, it was like clockwork that it was like 8:30 every night he was walking through. So I start to panic, of course, because we're like 2 weeks out from going up there, and I'm like, I've got days to burn. I can't take this. We need to get up there early. So we ended up, instead of going up on Friday, we went up on Wednesday, started sitting a little bit earlier. Well, as luck would have it, like the 5 days before we hadn't seen them. So I'm like, okay, I thought I heard something that bucks have like a 7-day pattern that they kind of follow. Like they'll kind of go on like a weekly schedule. And I don't know if that's true or not.
I heard that. I've heard that too, yes.
So I'm thinking, okay, this is going to work out really well. We're going to get into some colder weather that weekend. We're going to be set up. We're going to be ready. We're going to have 2 days of hunting. I'm not going to have to worry about, oh, I forgot this or I forgot that. I'm going to be right in the groove come Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Maybe I'll get a Halloween buck this year. So we get up there early, and you're right. So I've always sat in the same spot. Not always, but I have made some moves in the past. But I have this tree that I love because for whatever reason, and people are going to hear this and they're going to be like, well, why the hell would you sit there? We don't have a lot of scrapes or rubs where we are, but we always see bucks. I would like to say that this was the first year that I didn't actually see like a really quality buck that I could have gotten a shot at, because like the last 7 years, I've had a deer within 30 yards of me that was a quality buck.
Right.
Whether I messed it up or I actually was able to kill that deer, one of those two things have happened for like the last 6 or 7 years that I've been sitting in this tree. So this year, the only quality buck that I saw was full sprint 75 yards away chasing a doe. And I'm almost positive she got bred like just out of sight because they stopped like just after they got into the thick stuff, and I heard 4 mildly aggressive bleats. so I'm pretty sure we know what happened. So I have always been nervous because like when we were up there, you know, I see deer every year. My dad shot his buck on Saturday. My dad shot a buck on Saturday. And I have always been nervous to move because I know I'm running a camera in front of that stand, and I saw deer every day. Right. I think I saw more deer this year than I've ever seen. I just didn't see the deer that I wanted to take.
Gotcha.
So we have a number of spikes, we have a number of forks, and then we had like 3 really quality 8-pointers, a nice 9-pointer, and this 10-pointer that I just can't even believe we were getting recurring like pictures of. So I was just nervous to move, and I've always felt that way. I'm always so scared to make a move.
Thinking, oh, dang it.
I'm going to see a deer in front of my tree stand while I'm 300 yards away, and I'm going to be so pissed at myself. So I've always been so nervous about that. So finally, after seeing probably the same deer every day for like 4 days, finally after so my dad shot his buck Saturday late. We recovered Sunday morning. We went to the bar, watched football that day. And then Tuesday, I'm like, okay, I got to make a change. I'm going to make a change because I just need to do something different. I'm seeing the same probably 6 or 7 deer every day.
Right.
And while it's exciting to see deer, I'd like to see the right deer. So I moved and I went probably 400 yards west, where I've had a number of friends that have said, you should sit over in that area. And I moved over there last year. I ran a camera for a few days, but I think I was just not really quite in the right spot. Well, I start walking down, and I stumble across 5 scrapes from my dad's spot where he's at to the 300 yards west. There's 5 different scrapes there, and all of a sudden I get into this thick stuff, and there's rubs everywhere. I'm like, okay, well, this is where they're living then, right? So I ended up actually moving down there, and I sat there from Wednesday. We ended up coming home Friday. I sat there Tuesday to Thursday night. So I sat there 4 days in a row, and I saw deer. I saw a really nice big old doe, like almost a half hour after I got in the tree. I had a spike walk in, and then I did see a really, really nice sized buck that it was just like a small clearing. And what I had decided was this is the perfect gun stand because it's a nice big open clearing.
Okay.
So I can see for like 150 yards there.
Right.
I've got almost like a little swamp bottom that's kind of exposed with big old mature pines. That's a nice open clearing there. And then I've got a little window behind me as well that I can shoot through. So I'm like, maybe this isn't a bow stand, but this is for sure a gun stand. So I'm going to sit there for gun season.
Perfect.
We'll see what happens.
Perfect.
So I took a chance on the last day that we were out there, and I'm like, I'm going to just move in a little farther. I'm going to just sit on the ground, and I'm going to just see what happens. Because I'm going to, if I'm going to throw a Hail Mary, dang it, I'm going to try and do something that I'm not comfortable with, and I'm going to just see what happens. So I'm sitting there, and not kidding you, like it was like maybe 5 o'clock or 4:50, and we had probably 20-ish minutes left of shooting light. I look over my shoulder, and I had 2 huge does 15 feet away from me that I never even heard.
Really?
Because it was like soft out there, and I finally look over, and I'm like, I guess I'm glad it's not a buck because I would not have a chance at it.
Right.
But it was nice just to know that there were deer that were moving through there. And then I ended up moving a camera over there. So the big one, the big 10-pointer, has now been in that area a couple times. And I've gotten a couple pictures of them as recently as like not last night, but the night before. So I've always been so scared to do that because I just keep thinking to myself, that other camera is going to go off.
Yep.
And I'm going to be so mad that I moved, but I had to take a chance and I had to make something happen.
Right.
So it was not all for nothing, my rutcation, but it's a grind, man. I mean, when we go out there, we're packing lunches and we're sitting all day. So it's not easy to do that. And I'm like 25 feet in the air and I'm just getting pounded by wind. So it's like I come back and I look like I went to Florida for the week. And it was great. It was great for 2 reasons. First, shooting a doe out here on day 4 of the season takes so much stress off.
Right.
I don't have to worry about shooting any deer up north because I've already got venison. My dad, I'm just so proud of my dad because if he has a tag in his pocket, he's not letting anything walk by. Whether it's got horns or not, if we have tags appropriate for that, he's going to take it. Because I honestly, I don't know if he's ever passed on a deer before. And he had this fork come in, and where I was sitting, I could kind of see into an opening where his ground blind is. And I could see these deer moving in and out. And we just kept saying, okay, we're going to hold our doe tags for gun season. We're going to shoot bucks if we see them. But we know that there's good bucks here. So I just kept telling my dad, don't shoot a spike and don't shoot the fork. Okay? There's like 5 deer here that have somewhat decent antlers on them.
Right.
Like, hang on to your tag, please. So I watched this fork walk in, and my dad, and it was like 1 o'clock. The fork walks in, and my dad doesn't shoot. I'm like, I don't know how this is even possible, but he didn't take the fork the first time that he saw it. So we have like walkie-talkies that like every couple hours we'll check in with one another because my dad doesn't have a cell phone. He refuses to have one. So we just check in. Hey, how are you doing? Have you seen anything? Yada, yada, whatever. So he passed that when the fork walked in, that was the 6th deer that he passed that day. So he saw 5 does, and I think one of them was like a yearling, a nubber, and then he saw that fork at 1 o'clock. When I talked to him at like just after that, he's like, Eric, I've never passed deer before, and I just passed on a buck. And I'm like, yeah, it's good. There's bigger deer out here. And he's like, I'm really nervous that I'm going to regret not shooting that buck now. I'm like, all right, Dad, if you're happy with it, who am I to tell you that you shouldn't shoot that deer?
True.
You're 72. I don't know how much longer you're going to be doing this.
Right.
I mean, you're healthy and everything, but I've had that mindset a lot the last couple of years, and I'm just like, who am I to say that he can't shoot a deer that gets him excited? If the fork gets you excited, shoot the
it.
fork.
You're right.
So not an hour later, This fork walks back into my dad. And 10 minutes it stood in front of him at 15 yards. And I'm like, I can't believe this, but he's not going to shoot this fork again. I'm blown away by the fact that he's not going to take this thing. It walks to 10 feet in front of his blind. Bang! Like he did it. So it was perfect because I could see the whole thing happen. I was standing there. I was watching over into the clearing. So he shoots it. It runs directly next to his blind, and it beds down 20 feet from where he is.
Okay.
So it ran maybe 30 yards in total. So we get on the walkie-talkies. I'm like, all right, well, that one tripped your trigger, huh? And he say, yeah, it was there for too long. He couldn't handle it just sitting there. So I'm like, okay, let it lay. We know exactly where it is. There's no reason to get up and get it right now. You know, it's 3:15 or whatever. We got 2 hours. We're not blowing up the rest of the afternoon. We're getting to the good part of the day. So 5 o'clock, we get out at 5:15 or whatever, and I walk over by him, and he says, well, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but it's still alive. I'm like, what do you mean it's still alive? And he said, well, I walked up to it, and I didn't have my crossbow because it hasn't moved in 2 hours. I didn't have it with me, and it got up, and it just started walking away. So I'm like, okay, well, it must be wounded. And he's like, there's some blood here, but there's puddles where you can see that it laid down. So we're like, all right, well, not a problem. It's just right there. We know exactly where it is. We'll let it lay overnight. We'll come back in the morning. It's cold enough. It'll be fine.
Right.
So we get back out there in the morning, and we start kind of following the trail or whatever, and I have my camera. I'm kind of recording some of this stuff, and, you know, because I don't know how big this thing's going to be, but I know it's not huge, but he's going to be excited about it. So we're walking through all of this, like, really thick stuff, and it ran the right direction. It was 50 feet from the road.
Oh, it was.
So it's perfect. So we kind of circle back in, and we start walking back up to it, and we're not even from here to the wall away, 8 feet away. He's like, there it is. I'm like, what do you mean there it is? He's like, well, there's the rack. It was completely covered with leaves. It was the strangest, eeriest thing that I've ever seen. It was completely covered with leaves, and all you could see was just the one side of the rack out exposed from the leaves.
Wow.
And so I had posted something about that, and a lot of people were saying it's probably a cat of some sort. And the interesting part of that is that we've been running cameras up there for probably 3 months now, and I don't know that we've had any predators up there on camera. And usually you would catch them if they're in the area over the course of 3 months. There's a good chance that they're going to walk by your stand, or walk by your camera location. So we've seen bobcats up there. We've seen fishers up there. And we've seen bear up there. And maybe it could be any of those things, but whatever it was, it had gotten to it, and it just ate just a very small portion of the hind quarter, and then right underneath the entry wound, it had gotten eaten, like almost like in the armpit on the front leg.
Gotcha.
So not a huge amount of like disturbance to it, but just so weird to walk up on an animal that is completely covered, and for my dad to be brushing leaves off. It was just the strangest thing.
Yeah.
Something new for us that we've never experienced, and just, you know, it just adds another layer to the story. And thankfully my dad did shoot that deer. Maybe it would have come back because it seemed to be pretty regular right there, but thankfully he did, because I didn't shoot a deer after that.
Right.
You know, I didn't see anything that I wanted to shoot. And it's funny going back and forth with a couple of buddies, and I'm like, you know, I'm seeing deer. I mean, I probably saw anywhere from 6 to 10 deer a day, but I quickly realized that I'm seeing a lot of the same deer, and yeah, it's exciting, but sometimes you just got to make a move. And my one buddy said, you know, I know that as we were kind of wrapping up, I just said, you know, I appreciate you guys kind of giving me some insights and, you know, talking me through some stuff. And my one buddy said, well, you know, I know that you you didn't see a deer up to your standards, but at least you had a really good week with your old man.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, that sounds really bad up to your standards. You make it seem like I'm only trying to shoot 14-200-inch deer. I'm not asking for much. I would like to shoot a 6-pointer. Okay. I'm not asking for a ton. So, and that's not even it. It was just, I knew we've had so many deer in the month of October up there. We, like I said, 4, 5, 6 different bucks that I would happily take and be proud of. It's just, I don't, going into it with a totally different mindset of already having a doe early. And then after my dad shot that buck, it's like, we don't need more deer unless there's a reason for it.
Right.
And that reason would be a shoulder mount.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
another $675.
Another $675. So,
oh yeah.
So it's been a fun season so far. We've had really nice weather, and it reminded me of like how cool this fall has been because I won the shotgun in the Duck Hounds raffle, and I've gotten out and I've been able to do some duck hunting. And the first couple days that I was up there, all I kept thinking about was, if I shoot a buck early, I might just go home and duck hunt for the rest of the week. and then a couple buddies are like, I don't know if you're like not feeling well or what, but I'm like, well, let me get a buck first, and then we'll worry about what our plan is after that. So,
well, going back to the doe, tell me about this. As I'm just gonna you took it to Bunzel's.
Yep, took it to Bunzel's.
What would you have done? What did you do?
Yeah, so I had a couple things come out of it. So I got ground venison because I knew we were low on that. So I just got some hamburger done with it. I got jalapeno cheddar hot sticks.
Yeah.
I got steaks out of it, and then I also got jalapeno cheddar brats. And I thought I had asked for like the honey mustard cheddar brats, or a split of honey mustard cheddar brats and the jalapeno cheddar ones. So either way, the jalapeno cheddar ones are so good.
Are they hot? Are they really?
They're not. They have like an appropriate amount of kick to them. Good. And they're like, you look at like a Johnsonville or whatever that you buy at the store, they might be 60% bigger than that. They're like a good solid sausage.
Good.
Which sounds funny. So my dad then, when he let it hang all week, so it dried out a little bit and got everything cleaned out. My dad also took his deer to Bunzel's.
Oh, he did? Okay.
And he is for sure going to do the honey mustard cheddar brats.
Good.
So we have enough of the jalapeno cheddar ones, but it was nice, and maybe you have a time that you do this, but what we do for guns, or for our bow season that we spend all that time up there, it's really our time to like try all these different venison recipes and like really use up a bunch of different things. So like, we had steaks one night, we had the brats one night, we did ring bologna one night. Yeah. We just do all sorts of venison things. And our Milford Hills Day, I brought a couple of pheasants up there.
Yep.
And we did pheasant poppers one night. So like we just, we might not shoot a lot of big deer, but we eat really good.
We can eat good.
We can
Absolutely.
eat good.
Absolutely.
So what do you do with all yours when, like for us, it's kind of a destination thing. So, do you have like a wild game night, or do you do like for New Year's, do you do something, or like when do you typically go through your venison?
So my girls do not. I don't know if they have a radar on them or what, but if I try to make a venison burger, they know. If I try to make a steak, and the only thing my girls will eat will be the back straps and the tenderloins.
Yep.
With garlic, butter, onions,
yeah.
and they'll eat that. So what we do with everything else, I don't even take the roasts, because we do the roasts when we get a cow.
Sure.
The girls, we do a lot of hamburger, they do a lot of steaks, and they do a lot of that. So, but with just the tenderloins, but everything else is just ground up into sausage.
Yeah.
So now they've found out that they really like the ring bologna.
Okay.
The wieners.
Yep.
And then it's a garlic summer sausage with cheddar in it. Okay. It's not hot. It's just got like cheddar chunks in it. And they love it. So that's what we did with this one that we just got. Got a couple. I'm still waiting for the big one, because then we can load up on it.
Right.
But Yeah, they do that. There's no taco meat. There's no
Right.
steaks, and everybody looks at me like they can't tell the difference. So one of my buddies from Oconomowoc gave me a roast.
Okay.
And I put it in, and I made it exactly the way I make my beef roast.
Yeah.
Or my chuck roast
Yeah.
or whatever
Yeah.
roast that I get cut. And they knew it. They wouldn't eat it. They didn't eat it. I'm like, huh?
Okay, so I have one for you, and this is what I've done. This is how we've always done our burgers now when we use venison burger, is we'll take, and I probably have told you this, but I'll take like a country pork or like a mild Italian sausage, and I'll do like a 50-50 blend. So it's almost like a brat burger.
Yeah,
And it's
that's
super moist. It cooks really well. And you just hand make your patties to be whatever size.
Yeah, that would be something that I would definitely have to do if I decided to get, a certain percentage ground
Right.
into
Yeah.
hamburger. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just, I think it's a nice way to do it, and it's super juicy then because there's a lot of fat in the
Yep,
pork.
yep.
That's the hard part with venison is that it's just sometimes it's
yeah.
just so lean that depending on what you're doing with it,
Yeah.
it is what it is.
You can't fight
So-
it. You can't fight it. You
Right.
That taste, and that's how I do. I don't inject. I don't do
Doing a
anything.
brine or
yeah,
whatever
I don't.
it is.
I just do it, and that's probably what I could do. Mask it, as you say, or do
Right.
a little bit, or combine it. But the sausage, at least they eat it.
Yeah.
And then we don't. I'm not saying we waste. We don't do, and I never have. I don't do heart.
Sure.
I have a lot of buddies that all ask for the hearts.
It's too much for
They
me.
take, like they'll ask. They took the hearts. They took a
Yeah.
couple hearts already,
Yeah.
and so we've had the 3 does that you guys all took, and
Yep.
then we had a couple bucks taken, and one guy takes all the hearts, and I'm like, yep, you got them. They're all yours.
Good to know. I guess I'll bag it up.
Yeah,
next
exactly.
time.
So I've come to become a little expert. I'm sure so many people have done this before, but so I take my gutting glove. I still wear the
Yep.
big gutting
Okay.
glove. I take the long one, like all up to my elbow.
Yep.
And then when I'm done, and there's blood on it, but I'll kind of rinse it off a little bit
Yeah.
as long as it's not cut. And then I just grab the heart, and then I peel it off the back way, and then it
Okay.
kind of just seals it up as its own little Ziploc baggie.
Yeah.
And I put them in the freezer, and I'll put them in a Walmart bag or something,
Yeah.
and they'll come back and get them. And
Yeah.
they don't; those hearts don't go to waste.
Yeah.
Nope, not for me though.
Well, not for me though.
Not for me.
Oh man. Well, that's good though, and it's fun because it seems like everything that you see on social media right now is like take your PTO, burn the vacation time, stop answering emails, get out there and hunt, and I'm glad that we're both really kind of taking advantage of that. I mean, we've seen a lot of deer this year. It's been nice just to kind of get out there and get back into the swing of things, and forever the optimist, I think, has just always been my MO, or it's been like my mentality going into it, that it doesn't matter what the weather is. I'll find a reason to be like, yeah, I think today's the day.
Right.
I don't know. Oh, we've got a 13-mile-an-hour west wind. This stand is perfect. It's blowing right in my face. I'm not gonna get winded, and then deer walk up behind me anyways. So it's just that mantra that you have to have, because if you don't think that you're gonna get one that day, why would you be going out?
Right. And I think, and like I said, when I go out with my gut and I find my stand, I do play the wind. I do think, and I've said this before, I believe that the wind is the most important variable in hunting. I have guys that will stand on a stand, they will go to the bathroom, they'll smoke cigarettes, they'll wear their same jacket to the bar, and then they'll take it out, or they'll make breakfast in the morning with their clothes on, and they'll go out there, and they still shoot deer.
Yeah.
And I said, well, you go out and buy this $700 suit that, this name brand that everybody loves, and it's 101% scent free.
Yeah.
It don't work.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. And I'm like, gosh, it's so incredible to see that, because when I did it, and I was down, I mean, I've been playing the wind. I do play the wind.
Yeah.
I still take care of myself, and I put a little, I try to get a scent free on my face and do whatever I can. But I literally I was sitting in a new stand. We moved it up. I actually have, if you remember the double stand in the woods.
Yep.
and we kind of spun it. And then the single one, I left it, I moved it up.
Okay.
So I move it up, and I'm listening, and then this was maybe a week ago. And to the right of me, or to the south, that south corner, I hear a grunt. But I'm like, I'm like, you know what the hell? I grab my grunt tube, like with my turkey, with my I don't know. I don't know what the hell I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I'm, honest to God, I thought he was over there. Within about 3 minutes, he was behind me and underneath me.
Wow.
Like that. I've never grunted in. I mean, that I've really noticed. I grunted and stopped, and they started coming in. Yeah. In this situation, I grunted, and I thought I just did it for naught.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, he was underneath me.
Yeah.
He was underneath me, and he was big. He was a nice big. I couldn't move. He was a nice 10, real short brow tines, though.
Okay.
And real short brow tines, and then real short tines, too.
Sure.
But I don't know if I was deceived because I was looking down at him. I don't go 25 feet up. I have a ladder stand, so what is that? 18.6 to the thing, and then if I stand up, I'm about 23, 22. And I'm looking. I couldn't get my bow, and I had my bow, not the crossbow this time.
Yeah.
So I couldn't get the bow.
Sure.
Obviously my arrow's knocked, but I couldn't draw. There's no way I could have.
Right.
And I let him go, and then all of a sudden he walked. And I'm realizing, what? And then all of a sudden, as soon as the wind, even though I was up high, all of a sudden his nose went up in the air, and I'm like, are you kidding me? There's no way. And I wasn't going to shoot him. I couldn't shoot him. I didn't have the bow. It was still hanging. So there was nothing I could do. And then he walked off slowly, right down towards the ravine.
It's so frustrating.
It is.
This industry of bow hunting now has mainstreamed so much, and there's so much. I mean, we've got bow hunting on TV right now that we're watching as we're doing this. There's so much of that you could watch 1,000 videos in summer of people shooting big deer, and it all just kind of comes together. But the fact still remains, bow hunting is so hard. It is so hard. There are so many things that actually have to go right. And when it goes right, that's great. And maybe not everything has to be perfect, but a lot of things have to go in your favor to outsmart this animal that's trying to survive.
Yeah. And there's a lot of ideas, and there's a lot of ways that do things.
Right.
But when you're out there and you're standing, or you're sitting, or you're in a redneck, or you're in a ground blind, or things change. You learn there's not one, it's not like saying, I don't know what it is. It's you learn and adapt every day. You learn something every day. There's not one way, where they always say, there's not one way to skin a cat or something like that.
Right.
There's not one way to hunt, it's tough. It's a grind, like you said. It's tough. It's tough.
It's all of those things. It's a grind getting out there every day. And there's so much optimism leading into it. But for me right now, I'm like, okay, I worked really hard for 9 days or whatever it was. I just need a little bit of break, and I get it that we're really in the thick of it. But also, there's a lot going on. So I'm going to do whatever I can to get back out, and I would love to get back out, and I'm sure I will in the next couple days or this weekend. But it's hard, man. And there's just a lot of different things to factor into it. And you were saying that about that buck, and I don't know if I ever sent you. Did I send you the picture of the split brow that I keep calling him? This little deer, and it's a spike, and it has, I call it a split brow, but it's literally 4-inch spikes, and one of them is split.
Really?
It's just the funniest thing, and it was directly under my stand one day, to the point where here, I've got it. So that's how close it was. It was directly under me, and it was so funny because you can just kind of see on the one you can't even call it a brow tine, but the one is just split. It looks like a wishbone on top. So now I joke around and say that's the split brow buck.
Who knows what he's going to turn into?
Right. Well,
nice.
I don't know. We still got to get through gun season.
Yeah, that's true. Especially if Dad has a gun.
Yeah. So, but it's one of those, and I took a lot of that opportunity because I think, bow hunting is hard enough, but I've been trying to do some self-filming with like my camera in the tree and all that stuff. It just adds another element to it. So I just took a lot of that time whenever I did have deer come in that I was like, okay, walk through the process as if you're going to shoot this deer and see if you can do it and be still enough and not get detected. And so that's what I just really focused on when I saw does that came in, or like that fork I saw it the day before my dad shot it. Just all of those things. It's another chance for you to learn and to try and figure out what works for you and like what can you get away with or what can you not get away with. And you had said that buck, as soon as the wind switches around, man, when they know something's wrong, because they will stop in their tracks and they'll get that nose going and they will figure it out and they'll keep looking until they see something that's not right.
Yeah. And you were just saying about, trying to get the filming and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I can do one or the other.
You can't do both. It's so hard.
I can't. So last night, or the other night, I just did this. I got this. I said, you know what? I'm not going to shoot him. And I got this little 8-pointer right in front of me.
Yeah.
And it's so neat to watch them when you get that close.
Right.
And I can see him. And so I videoed him and I watched him follow the does. Yep. He literally walked right underneath my stand. I couldn't move, so I couldn't get him there. And then he walked into the woods. Couple does ran away, and as he came back up into the food plot, I was sitting up in that ladder stand, and I looked down, and I'm just thinking to myself after I put my phone down, after I was done recording him, I'm like, here's the path he took. He came out. So when you're looking down, he came out of the food plot, went to the east, went around here, chased these does, did a full circle, and came right back up.
Wow.
I don't think the does were ready. I don't think they were hot, but he was on their tail, but he wasn't. Yeah. And I'm like, I wasn't going to shoot him. He was a little smaller. Nice. Yeah. He'll be nice, but he won't make it through gun.
Right.
Around here. I mean, that's why,
Right.
That's why every deer is
tough.
like that. That's a 125 inch or 130 or 120 inch 8-pointer.
Yeah.
But it's kind of neat. So when you said that, I'm like, there's no chance. There's no chance I can, unless I have like the broken arrow arm or whatever that is, or and then you can move the camera and set it into that spot and then draw back,
anticipate where it's going, and then you just have to hope that it's going there into your shooting lane.
Yes, crazy.
There's so much, and so it just gives me a new. It gives me a new appreciation for watching all these shows, because if they are actually doing it themselves, I mean, a lot of times these guys have their own camera crew with them and whatever, but there's just so many factors that go into it. And then when you do have a camera guy with you, now it's two people that they can detect, The other thing that you had said before, just about like scent and playing the wind and whatever. So I wore my Wisco bow hunting hat out there every day. And I'm like, you know what? I don't know. Maybe it's just a superstition or whatever, but I'm going to wear my Matthews hat out there. It's my lucky hat that I've shot deer with in the past. Well, I happen to have worn that to the bar the night before, or like the couple days before or whatever. And I was sitting out there in the tree stand, and I could smell the bar on my hat.
Really?
Like I could smell just like the fryer or whatever. Yeah. And I'm like, if I can smell it, the deer can smell it. 100%. So I had like some, I don't know, like some spray or something in my bag. And I'm like, I don't know if it's like a dirt deodorizer or whatever it was. I was like, thank God I have this, because like it's making me nauseous, so I know the deer can smell it. So I just took my hat off and I'm like, well, it's cold out, and now my head is even colder. But whatever, I got to do something. So what's the next couple of weeks look like for you now? So we've got gun coming up in a week, 8 days from now. Are you solo out here for gun, or what are you thinking for that?
Opening excuse me again. Opening weekend I am by myself. I have a couple baseball players that have come up.
Okay.
So they are going to hunt Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
Okay.
And then I don't do anything for Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Or that Friday, so I go by my brother on Friday, Thanksgiving.
Sure.
And then I will go back out probably Saturday and Sunday.
Okay.
If if it doesn't work, I'm okay with it because I have the muzzle loader.
Right.
If there's something out there, if something still survives the gun, I will save my buck tag and I'll use it on the muzzle loader.
Okay.
Or I can also go, late season bow.
Sure.
We're not the metro unit, but still, I got plenty of time out there.
Yeah.
I'll wing it. I'll kind of just go whenever I feel like it. I'll come home. The girls are in Vegas right now.
Right.
When they get back from Vegas, if we go out to dinner, okay, no big deal because I'll go tomorrow. Or working. And I set up my work schedule at the store. I'm out of there by either one days I'm out of there at 11:30, or else I'm out of there at 1.
Yeah.
So either way, I can always hunt the afternoon, and we've known my property's always been afternoons.
Right.
So those 2 or 3 days that I work at the store, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
Yeah, and that's nice too. And what I think about for me, if I'm gonna go hunt by my place over there, or if I'm gonna get out, I'm gonna go somewhere, and what is shooting hours now? It might not even be 5 o'clock anymore. It might be 4:50 something. So you figure,
because sunset last night was 4:37.
Oh my gosh,
I saw that. So I think
really
at 20 minutes 50.
Early,
yeah.
So and that's the nice thing is that it doesn't really throw off my I can still be home for dinner.
Oh yeah,
exactly. By the time Sherry gets home and all that. So so it's nice. It's nice just to. Of course, we'd like to have longer days, and we'd like it to be light out when we're driving home. But, and then I'm going to be going up. So tonight, my nephew is playing in the last round before state for football.
Okay.
So if they win tonight, they'll play state on Thursday. He's out in Cassville, so they're D45, whatever division they are. So they'll be the first game on Thursday, most likely, 10 a.m., something like that. So we'll go to Madison Thursday morning, take all of our stuff with, and then we'll go up north from there. I'll probably sit Friday and bow hunt, just get my stand hung, all that, and then that way I'm ready to go for Saturday then.
And then you're staying how long?
And then I think I haven't really decided. I guess it depends. If I have to take off on Thursday, I think I'll probably come home Monday. If I don't have to take off on Thursday, then I'll probably come home Tuesday night, maybe.
Gotcha.
And then that way, because we're going to actually host Thanksgiving this year. So a lot going on. So I'd like to be home just to kind of help out and run errands and cook some stuff. But that's enough. It's hard with gun season. It's just... I'm actually going to sight in my rifle. I'm going to do that tomorrow, by the way, at the Menominee Falls Rod and Gun Club. They've got sight-in clinics the first 3 Saturdays and Sundays of November.
Good.
So I'm going to meet my old man over there. We're going to try and get things dialed in because one of the things that I've been thinking through so many times this year is I'm just so confident with my bow that I would like to know if I'm aiming at something, I'm going to be close when I have the boomstick in my hand. So we got our sights mounted. They're bore sighted, so hopefully they're kind of close, but we're going to just go make sure we're going to shoot a couple rounds and make sure that we're all really totally dialed in. And then so we'll have a couple days up there, but we always get guys that do drives, and it's just it's really a lot less fun doing gun season up north. Yeah, just because there's so many people up there, and there's a bunch of yahoos and whatever. So it's not quite the same, but at the same time, it's something that we all look forward to. It's like a national holiday in the state of Wisconsin. So, all right. Well, I think we're at.
Oh wait, there's one other thing I wanted to say. I do have to. So I did have issues with my bow and my crossbow and stuff. The one thing, just a really quick, fast one.
Okay.
Don't forget to wax your strings.
Yeah.
You have to wax your strings. And whether you have that little tube or, the little Carmex tube or whatever it is, you have to do it. Going over it with those guys over there at the archery shop, she was great. You got to do it, and it's something you don't really think of, especially after years go by, and you don't think it with all the practice shots or the shots you take, whatever you do. Sometimes it'll drive a crisp. You got to keep them, especially in those movable, the twisty spots.
Yeah.
Obviously, the ones that are waxed in already,
Right.
No biggie, but
Yeah.
those movable spots that you can see right there,
Yeah.
and you can twist them a little bit, definitely keep them waxed.
Isn't it amazing? We talk about, making sure you're prepped for deer season every year in like June.
Yep.
It comes to the season. You know what I was doing last night? I was putting a new shrink wrap tube on my cable for my tree stand. We did not do a good job of following our own advice.
No.
Yeah. All right, well, here we go. It's the first episode 201 of Tailgate Talk, that we are in this new kind of new era of Tailgate Talk, but I hope that this format is a little easier for people to digest. I mean, we're at an hour, so it's a full hour show now.
Perfect.
And a lot to catch up on. We didn't do any news stories. We didn't do any of that stuff this
And we'll
week,
do that next. Let's do that next week.
We'll start doing some of that stuff again. And we just had to kind of work some of the kinks out. And boy, I hope this saved.
Perfect. I know too.
I'll really be in trouble otherwise.
All right.
All right.
Good deal.
So for Paul Wagner, Eric Tasker, this has been another episode of Tailgate Talk.